It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level.
So, in our new release section, there's some real dandies in here this week. So, this was a big week for me, mostly because of Mass Effect Andromeda on your Xbox and your PlayStation, but I'm keeping it in the Xbox section because they're a little light on games this week. So, Mass Effect is $60 brand new, or if you have EA Access, it's down to $54. And honestly, I played it for about 2 to 2.5 hours this morning. I had a great time with it. People have been giving Mass Effect Andromeda a ton of shit online, mostly for the facial animations and just kind of the silly walks and things like that. I had a discussion with a coworker friend of mine who's a giant Mass Effect fan recently, and he said, here's the thing. Every BioWare game that's ever been made does that. They have terrible facial animations, terrible walking animations, and it's just like they don't care. Like, they just don't give a shit. That's their thing. As long as the game's tight, as long as the gameplay's good, the story's good, the dialogue options are dope, and you have all the typical elements of a BioWare game in there, I think you're going to be okay. So I think it has a lot of undeserved hate from the kind of the graphics first community, but I personally have been having a great time with it. It's brought back some really fun memories. It's a bit sad not having Shepard in there, but you know, it is what it is. So here's your description for Mass Effect Andromeda. If you know nothing about it, if you do, shame on you, but here it is anyway. Mass Effect Andromeda travels deep into the Andromeda Galaxy, far beyond the Milky Way. There you will lead our flight for a new home in hostile territory where we are the aliens. Take command as the Pathfinder, a leader of a squad of military-trained explorers with deep progression and customization systems. This is the story of humanity's next chapter, and your choices throughout the game will ultimately determine the survival in the Andromeda Galaxy. As you unfold the mysteries of the Andromeda Galaxy and hope for humanity lies on your shoulders, you must ask yourself, how far will you go? That is HDR enhanced for richer, more luminous colors on Xbox, and I'm assuming the same thing on PlayStation. I would say take a look at it, man. I mean, I know some folks that have canceled their pre-orders over those memes. I think it's silly. I think you should check it out. I'm having a good time with it. Next on Xbox, we have Resident Evil Super Bundle, which sounds like just like a Japanese game to begin with. Resident Evil Super Bundle is one of the biggest collections of Resident Evil games I've ever seen. Is a massive, massive collection. $52, which I think is a decent price point for it. What we're talking about in this bundle are Resident Evil HD Remaster, Resident Evil 0 HD Remaster, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 5 Gold Edition, Resident Evil 6, and Resident Evil Revelations 2 Deluxe Edition, which is all the trimmings, and they're all in this one package for $52. So unless you've been kind of picking these up as they've been sort of slowly releasing them at a cheaper price rate, this is the one to go for. I really hope they bring this to PlayStation. I know we do have an Xbox, but I also know that Keegan hates Resident Evil games, but yeah, it looks really cool, and I'm really excited about it. I love Resident Evil, as you know. I think this is a really good way to get into the series, and especially if you're one of those people that jumped on board for Resident Evil 7, if you like just did it for the VR or what have you, this is a great way to get caught up on the backstory. Obviously, we're missing some of the classics like Resident Evil 2 in here, but there's enough going on, I think, to keep it interesting. So the Resident Evil Super Bundle, $52 on Xbox. And then finally on Xbox, but also on PlayStation, is a very bizarre-looking game that kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know where this game came from, honestly, because I feel like this is something that I should have had my eye on, and apparently I didn't, and I dropped the ball on it. It's called Troll and I. The trailer is kind of epic. It's $50, so they're not billing it as a AAA. It's almost like a just over AA, like AA and a half, AA-B, I don't know. And it looks like a weird mixture of The Last Guardian and Uncharted, in my opinion. So basically, you play this little dude with a giant-ass troll, think Troll Hunter-style troll, that you befriend somehow, and then you're, I guess, running away from things and whatnot, and your troll buddy's just kind of helping you along the way, very similar to, is it Trico in The Last Guardian? So here's your rundown on what Troll and I is. Deep in the Nordic wilderness, a teenage boy named Otto is forced to flee his home after a band of brutal hunters rip through his village in search of a mythical creature rumored to inhabit the forest. Now on the run for his life, Otto inadvertently finds and befriends the elusive creature being sought by the hunters. Thus begins the perilous adventure of Troll and Otto. Together, the unlikely friends embark on a journey through treacherous territory plagued with rivals, natives to the forest. Troll and Otto must use their inherent skills to sneak, strategize, and battle their way home. This forest is filled with unknowns, and teamwork is pivotal to staying alive. It doesn't look half bad. I'm kind of on the fence about it. I don't think I could put 50 on it because I literally don't know enough about it to put 50 on it. But when you look at the trailer, so many pangs of Last Guardian in there. And I think if you were a Last Guardian fan, you should absolutely take a look at this. Okay, thank you. I needed one of those. I'm sorry, I get like one per episode. So that is available on the PS4 as well. Let's move over to the PS4 and see what they had that was different. Berserk and the Band of the Hawk, which is, again, as far as stupid names go, we're really running the gauntlet this week. Berserk and the Band of the Hawk is a Dynasty Warrior style game based on the anime Berserk. If you've never seen it, now's a good time to get into it, I suppose. Allegedly, it's the perfect kind of anime for this style of game. Dynasty Warrior games are very popular in a subcircle of people. I mean, they've even had a Zelda Dynasty Warrior game. There's been quite a few. And there was I think it was a Dragon Quest one too. But yeah, this game looks a little bizarre. But it's just your standard sort of Dynasty Warrior style thing. You're one dude taking on armies full of people. So behold the fierce blend of warriors and berserk. In this work, the action of cutting through hundreds of enemies, fundamental to the Warrior series, is fused together with the dark and gruesome atmosphere of the world of Berserk, making various heretofore unseen acts possible. Can I just say heretofore? Amazing word. Such as using a giant man-sized sword to cut enemies in half, as well as smash or send them flying with the slash and smash actions. This is really not written very well. Story. In addition to the well-known story, the Golden Age arc, you will also be able to join Guts on his journey of revenge through the Hawk of the Millennium arc. Characters. In addition to the main hero, Guts, there will be a number of characters you can choose to play. Furthermore, the same familiar cast of Japanese voice actors from the movie trilogy and the new animation series were invited to take part. They were invited. It doesn't say if they actually accepted the invitation. It's like they were invited. They might be there. I don't know. Really weird. But there you go. Berserk and the Band of the Hawk. It's Tecmo K-O-E-I. I don't know how you pronounce that. Like Koi or whatever. Same dudes that did Dynasty Warriors, obviously. But the trailer looks cool. And if you're into Dynasty, I think it's a good thing to look at. And yeah, there's a rich lore there. There's some backstory. So if you really want to dig into it, you have plenty of opportunities to do that. Next is the weirdest game. I know that's tough to follow. The weirdest thing that showed up this week, which is the first part of the Play Collective, which is Sony's kind of indie thing that they push every year. And it's called, quite literally, Everything. Now, I watched the trailer for Everything this morning, and after watching the trailer, if you're still sat there going, but what is it? I think there's a problem. However, this again seems to strike into those kind of games as art category. So with that being said, I'll give you the description and you can make up your own mind. Everything is an interactive experience where everything you see is a thing you can be. From animals to planets to galaxies and beyond, travel between outer and inner space and explore a vast interconnected universe of things without enforced goals, scores, or tasks to complete. Everything is procedural, AI-driven simulation of the systems of nature, seen from the points of view of everything in the universe. Learn to change what you are to create worlds within worlds within worlds, or let go anytime to allow everything to take over and produce a never-ending documentary about the world that you live in. Narrated by the inspiring philosophy of Alan Watts and featuring a rich score from composer Ben Lucas Boyson, Everything will give you a new perspective on life. That's pretty grandiose. That's a pretty big statement they're making there. It kind of looked like a weird version of Spore mixed with flour to me. But essentially, you literally control anything. They had, like, in the trailer, you're like, you can be a tree or like an amoeba or a deer or a galaxy. And the weird part is how stuff moves. And that was the part that I couldn't quite get my head around. Like, when you're a deer, you don't move like, galloping along. You, like, literally do, like, 90-degree turns. Like, it's like you're, like, tumbling forward in 90-degree turns. It's very weird. Almost like Goat Simulator stupid. But I mean, props to him. It looks interesting. It looks like a game that I would actually play. I think I would get really annoyed with it really quickly. But for $15, or if you happen to pre-order it, you would have got it for a little bit cheaper, 20% off. It's interesting. Worth a look. I might buy it just to make Keegan play it and see what kind of shit that he can come up with it. It seems like the type of game that if you give it to a mad person, then you get some interesting results. So on to our last game for PlayStation this week. And I said that, as I say that, of course, all of my games have suddenly gone away. But yeah, the last game that I had was a really, really interesting looking game. Give me 1 second to get it. I'm so sorry. I'm full of shit. Here it is. So Freedom Planet is best described as kind of an it kind of looks like a weird version of Sonic, honestly. When you look at the trailer, it's a fast-paced platformer that involves some vehicles and things like that. But it's done in a kind of a cutesy art style. I kind of dug it, honestly. The music was cool. The art style was cool. So here's your description for Freedom Planet. Fight your way across the celestial world of Avalice, where cats are green, motorcycles drive up walls, and monster girls do most of the butt kicking. Freedom Planet is a cartoony combat-based platform adventure that pits a spunky dragonoid and her friends against an alien attack force. As Lilac, you can whip enemies with your hair or use the dragon boost to fly through the air at high speed like a comet. As Carol, you can bust through foes with a flurry of punches and kicks or summon a motorcycle that lets you ride up walls and ceilings. As Milla, you can summon blocks to throw at enemies or reflect their attacks back at them with a psychic shield. Help Lilac and friends save the world from war in an engaging adventure mode with fully voiced cutscenes, or skip the fluff and play each stage in order with classic mode. Do you have what it takes to save Avalice from the wrath of Lord Brevin and his robotic minions? Dr. Robotnik. It looks great, man. Like, I'm going to say for $15, at least take a look at it, the trailer. If you're into old school retro platformers, I definitely have seen a lot worse. And so far, everyone that's purchased it on here has given it 5-star ratings. So, worth looking at. Sorry it took so long to find that one. That's pretty much it for the standard part of our show. Those are all the new releases for Xbox and PlayStation this week. I do apologize that I had to do all of that in basically what feels like one mouthful, and that Keegan wasn't here to help me with it. But he's got things going on, and I didn't want to let you guys down, so here I am. That being said, though, you can enjoy a little bit of Keegan and myself playing games with our next segment. So we're about to get into some gameplay.
Ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level.